History is written by great leaders, visionaries, and geniuses who deliberately shaped the course of human civilization through wisdom and planning. The major turning points in human history are carefully considered decisions by brilliant minds. Except that's completely wrong. Some of the most significant moments in human history happened because someone made a stupid mistake that accidentally changed everything forever. 1. Christopher Columbus accidentally discovered the Americas while being completely wrong about the Earth's size and trying to reach Asia. Columbus miscalculated the Earth's circumference by nearly 10,000 miles, thinking Asia was much closer sailing west. His mathematical errors were so obvious that most educated people rejected his plan as suicidal stupidity. He convinced the Spanish crown to fund the voyage only because Queen Isabella was desperate for new trade routes. Columbus died believing he had reached Asia and never realized he'd discovered 2 entire continents. The stubborn refusal to admit his calculations were wrong meant he never understood his actual achievement. His navigation error was one of the most consequential mistakes in human history. The accidental discovery of the Americas transformed global civilization, trade, and power structures. The entire Western Hemisphere was found because Columbus was terrible at math and refused to listen to people who told him he was wrong. 2. Alexander Fleming accidentally discovered penicillin by being a slob who left contaminated Petri dishes unwashed before vacation. Fleming was notoriously messy and left bacterial cultures sitting on his lab bench for weeks. When he returned from vacation, he noticed one dish had mold growing that killed surrounding bacteria. The messy lab habits that violated every scientific protocol led to observing the effect. Proper sterile technique would have prevented the contamination that revealed penicillin's properties. His accidental observation launched the antibiotic revolution that has saved hundreds of millions of lives. The mistake of being a disorganized slob became one of medicine's greatest discoveries. Fleming himself admitted the discovery was pure luck from his poor laboratory practices. Modern medicine and lifespans were transformed because one scientist couldn't be bothered to clean up before leaving. 3. A Coke employee accidentally created new Coke by ignoring focus group data that showed people hated it, causing such backlash that Coca-Cola became more valuable. The reformulation was based on flawed taste tests that didn't account for emotional brand attachment. New Coke launch in 1985 triggered nationwide outrage and protest. The overwhelming negative response forced bringing back original Coke as Coca-Cola Classic. The mistake made people realize how much they loved the original formula. Sales of Classic Coke after the reversal exceeded pre-New Coke levels dramatically. The botched reformulation accidentally reinforced brand loyalty through the threat of loss. The billion-dollar mistake became the most successful product failure in marketing history. The company's value increased because they accidentally showed customers what losing Coke would feel like. 4. A lab technician accidentally discovered X-rays by leaving photographic plates near experimental tubes, revolutionizing medicine overnight. Wilhelm Röntgen was experimenting with cathode ray tubes when he noticed covered photographic plates were being exposed. The accidental observation came from plates left carelessly near the experimental apparatus. He tested the mysterious rays by imaging his wife's hand, clearly showing bones and her wedding ring. The medical applications were immediately obvious from the accidental discovery. Within months, X-ray machines were being used for medical diagnosis worldwide. The mistake of leaving sensitive plates near the experiment revealed invisible electromagnetic radiation. Modern medical imaging, from simple X-rays to CT scans, stems from an accidental observation. Surgery and medicine were transformed because someone left photographic equipment in the wrong place. 5. NASA engineers accidentally created memory foam while trying to improve aircraft seat cushions, changing furniture and medical equipment forever. The material was developed to absorb shock in aircraft crashes but was too expensive for aviation use. The failed aircraft application sat unused for years before someone realized commercial potential. The space program mistake became a multi-billion-dollar consumer product industry. Memory foam mattresses, pillows, and medical equipment all stem from the failed NASA project. The material properties that made it too expensive for aircraft made it perfect for consumer products. The accidental civilian applications far exceeded the original failed military purpose. The mistake of creating material that didn't work for planes revolutionized how people sleep. Modern comfort products exist because NASA engineers couldn't solve the original problem they were hired to fix. 6. The Great Fire of London in 1666 started from a baker's assistant forgetting to extinguish an oven, but accidentally rebuilt London into a modern sanitary city. The fire began in a bakery on Pudding Lane from unextended embers in an oven. The medieval city of wooden buildings burned for 4 days, destroying 13,000 houses. The catastrophic mistake eliminated the unsanitary medieval infrastructure that bred disease. London was rebuilt with stone and brick under new building codes. The rebuilt city's improved sanitation ended the plague that had killed thousands. The urban planning improvements from the fire made London a modern city. The single mistake of forgetting to check an oven transformed London from medieval town to modern metropolis. Hundreds of thousands of lives were saved by improved sanitation that only happened because of the destructive fire. 7. A 3M scientist accidentally created Post-it notes while trying to make super strong adhesive but creating weak glue nobody wanted. Spencer Silver created an adhesive that was too weak for any intended application. The failed glue that didn't stick properly sat unused for years as a laboratory failure. Art Fry realized weak adhesive was perfect for bookmarks that don't damage pages. The mistake became one of the most successful office products ever created. Post-it notes are now a multi-billion-dollar product line found in every office. The adhesive that was too weak to work became valuable precisely because it was weak. The failed experiment became more successful than any strong adhesive would have been. Modern offices and organization systems depend on glue that wasn't strong enough to do its original job. 8. A factory worker accidentally discovered vulcanized rubber by dropping rubber mixed with sulfur onto a hot stove, creating the modern tire industry. Charles Goodyear was trying to make rubber usable in different temperatures when the accident occurred. The accidental heating transformed rubber from temperature-sensitive material to stable substance. Raw rubber before vulcanization was useless for most applications due to temperature sensitivity. The mistake created material that could withstand heat and cold without degrading. Modern transportation depends entirely on vulcanized rubber for tires and seals. The automotive revolution required rubber that could only be made through the accidental discovery. Goodyear died poor despite his mistake creating a multi-billion-dollar industry. The entire modern tire industry exists because someone dropped something on a hot stove. 9. The microwave oven was accidentally invented when a radar engineer noticed a chocolate bar melted in his pocket near a magnetron. Percy Spencer was testing radar equipment when he noticed the candy bar had completely melted. The accidental observation led to experimenting with heating food using microwave radiation. The military radar technology accidentally became the basis for cooking appliances. Early microwave ovens were massive and expensive, but the concept came from the accident. Modern kitchens worldwide contain appliances that exist because of melted pocket chocolate. The radar engineer's snack accident transformed how billions of people cook food. Microwave cooking technology worth billions came from noticing something unexpected during radar testing. Modern convenience cooking exists because one engineer paid attention to his melted candy. 10. Viagra was accidentally discovered by researchers studying heart medication who noticed unexpected side effects in male patients. The drug was being developed to treat high blood pressure and angina. Male patients reported the side effect and refused to return their leftover pills after trials ended. Pfizer realized the side effect was far more commercially valuable than the intended heart treatment. The failed heart medication became one of the most profitable drugs ever sold. Billions in revenue came from noticing what the drug actually did instead of what it was supposed to do. The mistake of focusing on unexpected effects rather than intended results created pharmaceutical blockbuster. Modern treatment for erectile dysfunction exists because researchers paid attention to what the drug accidentally did. The drug that failed at its intended purpose succeeded spectacularly at its accidental effect. 11. The Slinky toy was accidentally invented when a naval engineer knocked a tension spring off a shelf and watched it walk. Richard James was working on meter devices for ships when the spring fell. The spring's behavior, walking down surfaces instead of just falling, fascinated him. The failed engineering component became one of the most successful toys in history. Over 300 million Slinkies have been sold from the accidental discovery. The toy industry product came from military equipment that didn't work as intended. Children's entertainment worldwide stems from noticing how a dropped spring moved. The accidental toy became more culturally significant than any naval meter would have been. A classic toy exists because someone dropped something and paid attention to how it fell. 12. Champagne was accidentally created by French monks who couldn't stop wine from fermenting a second time in bottles. Dom Pérignon and other monks considered the bubbling wine a failure and problem to fix. The bottles would explode from pressure, making storage dangerous and expensive. The unwanted fermentation created what became the most prestigious beverage in the world. The French monks who created it spent years trying to eliminate the bubbles. Modern celebrations worldwide involve popping champagne bottles that were originally considered defective wine. The sparkling wine industry worth billions exists because monks couldn't prevent a fermentation problem. Champagne is served at weddings and celebrations because French monks failed at controlling their wine production. The most prestigious drink in the world was originally a wine-making mistake nobody wanted. 13. Superglue was accidentally discovered twice by the same scientist who didn't realize its value the first time. Harry Coover first made the substance in 1942 and rejected it as useless because it stuck to everything. 6 years later, he rediscovered it and finally realized that sticking to everything was actually valuable. The adhesive that was too strong and too fast became superglue. Modern instant bonding in repairs, manufacturing, and even surgery uses the accidentally discovered adhesive. The mistake was dismissing something because it did exactly what adhesives are supposed to do. The delay in recognizing value meant missing years of potential applications. Superglue exists because someone finally realized that sticking to everything was the point, not the problem. Medical and industrial adhesives worldwide came from someone eventually understanding their own accidental discovery. 14. The discovery of America by Vikings was accidentally forgotten, changing who gets credit for the discovery. Viking settlements in Newfoundland around 1000 AD were established, then abandoned. The knowledge of American lands didn't spread widely and was eventually forgotten in Europe. The accident of losing historical knowledge meant Columbus got credit 500 years later. If Viking discoveries had been remembered, the entire age of exploration would have been different. The naming of continents and historical credit changed because information was accidentally lost. The Western Hemisphere might be named something completely different if Viking discoveries had been documented and remembered. Historical credit for world-changing discovery went to someone else because of poor record-keeping. The shape of modern history changed because someone forgot to write things down or preserve the knowledge. 15. Plastic was accidentally invented by a chemist trying to create synthetic shellac, who made bakelite instead. Leo Baekeland was trying to replace natural shellac when he created the first synthetic plastic. The mistake led to creating material that became basis for entire plastics industry. The failed shellac substitute became infinitely more important than shellac ever was. Modern life is built on plastics that exist because of this accidental discovery. The ubiquity of plastic in modern civilization stems from one failed experiment. Environmental problems from plastic also trace back to this single accidental discovery. The material that defines modern life, for better and worse, came from trying to make something completely different. Nearly every product we touch daily contains materials that exist because one chemist failed at making fake shellac. 16. Cornflakes were accidentally invented by Seventh-day Adventist brothers who left wheat dough sitting out too long. The Kellogg brothers were creating bland food for patients following vegetarian religious diets. The stale dough was processed anyway to avoid waste and created flakes. The mistake became breakfast cereal that transformed morning meals worldwide. The accident launched the entire breakfast cereal industry worth billions. The religious diet mistake became secular commercial product consumed by billions. Modern breakfast cereals and the meal rituals around them stem from spoiled dough. The brothers founded Kellogg Company based entirely on the accidental discovery. Breakfast culture worldwide changed because someone left dough out and decided to use it anyway. 17. The smallpox vaccine was accidentally discovered by Edward Jenner, noticing milkmaids who got cowpox didn't get smallpox. The folk observation about milkmaids was turned into deliberate experimentation. Jenner infected a boy with cowpox, then exposed him to smallpox to test the theory. The accidental folk knowledge became the basis for all vaccination science. Smallpox was eventually eradicated completely, the only human disease ever eliminated. Hundreds of millions of lives were saved from observing an accidental pattern. Modern immunology and vaccines stem from noticing something dairy workers knew anecdotally. The entire concept of vaccination came from paying attention to an accidental occupational protection. Medical science was revolutionized because someone wondered why milkmaids didn't get sick. 18. Coca-Cola was accidentally created by a pharmacist trying to make pain medication and creating a beverage instead. John Pemberton was trying to create morphine substitute for pain relief. The syrup he created was mixed with carbonated water by accident when someone grabbed the wrong container. The accidental beverage became more valuable than any pain medication would have been. Coca-Cola is now one of most valuable brands in the world. The pain medication failure created a soft drink industry giant. The pharmacist died poor, never knowing his mistake would become worth hundreds of billions. Modern beverage industry and American cultural exports stem from a failed painkiller. The most recognized brand worldwide exists because a pharmacist was trying to make medicine, not soda. 19. Anesthesia was accidentally discovered by a dentist at a laughing gas demonstration party who noticed pain elimination properties. Nitrous oxide had been used recreationally at parties, but medical use wasn't considered. Horace Wells attended a demonstration and noticed an injured man felt no pain while intoxicated. The party drug observation revolutionized surgery and medicine forever. Surgery before anesthesia was brutal torture that patients often didn't survive from shock. Modern surgery is possible only because someone noticed something at a recreational drug party. The accidental medical application of party drug saved millions from surgical agony. Countless medical procedures became possible because someone paid attention at the right party. Modern medicine's ability to do complex surgery exists because of an observation at a laughing gas party. 20. Saccharin artificial sweetener was accidentally discovered by a chemist who forgot to wash his hands before dinner. Konstantin Folberg was researching coal tar derivatives when he noticed a sweet taste at dinner. The sweet taste came from chemical compounds still on his unwashed hands. The accident created the first artificial sweetener and multi-billion-dollar industry. Modern diet products and sugar-free foods stem from poor laboratory hygiene. The chemist rushed back to the lab to identify what he'd accidentally tasted. Sugar substitutes used by millions daily exist because someone ate without washing their hands. The artificial sweetener industry came from violating basic laboratory safety protocols. Diet soft drinks and sugar-free products worldwide exist because of accidental contamination. 21. The ice cream cone was accidentally invented at the 1904 World's Fair when an ice cream vendor ran out of bowls. A waffle vendor next door rolled waffles into cones to help out his neighbor. The improvised serving method became standard way to serve ice cream worldwide. The desperate solution to running out of dishes became permanent innovation. Ice cream cone industry exists because vendors ran out of proper serving dishes. The accidental invention became cultural icon and standard serving method. Modern ice cream culture and street vending would be completely different without the accident. A simple shortage solution transformed how billions of people consume ice cream. One of summer's most iconic treats exists because someone ran out of bowls at a fair. 22. Gunpowder was accidentally discovered by Chinese alchemists trying to create immortality elixir and creating explosive instead. Ancient Taoist alchemists were mixing substances, searching for eternal life. The accidental explosion from mixing saltpeter, sulfur, and charcoal terrified them. The immortality failure created substance that changed warfare forever. Gunpowder revolutionized military technology and ended the age of castles and knights. Global power structures shifted because of accidental discovery while seeking eternal life. Modern weapons and explosives all derive from the immortality experiment gone wrong. The technology that shaped modern warfare came from failure to achieve impossible goal. World history was transformed because alchemists accidentally exploded their immortality experiment. 23. Safety glass was accidentally invented by a French scientist who dropped a glass flask coated with plastic cellulose. Edouard Benedictus dropped the flask and noticed it cracked but didn't shatter. The laboratory accident revealed that plastic coating prevented dangerous glass shards. The observation sat unused for years until automobile accidents showed the need. Modern vehicle windshields and safety glass everywhere came from dropped flask. Millions of lives have been saved in accidents because glass doesn't shatter into deadly shards. The accident prevented countless injuries and deaths from broken glass. Auto safety and modern glazing technology stems from one clumsy moment in a lab. Cars became dramatically safer because someone dropped something and paid attention to how it broke. 24. Teflon was accidentally discovered by Roy Plunkett, who was researching refrigerants, and found mysterious white powder in containers. The gas he was studying had polymerized into slippery, solid coating container interior. The failed refrigerant experiment created most slippery substance ever discovered. Teflon revolutionized cookware, industrial applications, and scientific equipment. Non-stick pans in millions of kitchens exist because of refrigerant research accident. Space programs and medical devices use Teflon in countless applications. The commercially valuable discovery came from experiment that didn't produce intended results. Modern cooking and industrial processes changed because someone opened the wrong container and found unexpected results. 25. Silly putty was accidentally created by engineers trying to make synthetic rubber during World War II shortages. The bouncing, stretching compound didn't work as rubber substitute and was considered failure. The failed war material sat unused until someone realized it was perfect as toy. The military failure became one of most successful toys in history. Millions of units have been sold of material that failed its original purpose. The toy industry product came from desperate wartime materials research. The accident of creating wrong material became more valuable as toy than useful rubber would have been. A cultural icon toy exists because wartime engineers failed to make what they were trying to make. 26. Dynamite was accidentally discovered by Alfred Nobel when he found that nitroglycerin absorbed in porous material became stable. Pure nitroglycerin was too unstable and dangerous for any practical use, killing Nobel's brother in explosion. The accident of spilling nitroglycerin onto packing material revealed how to make it safe. The discovery enabled construction of tunnels, canals, and infrastructure projects previously impossible. Modern construction and mining depend on explosives that came from the spill accident. Nobel became wealthy from the mistake and founded the Nobel Prizes with the fortune. The guilt from weaponization of his discovery led to creating prizes celebrating peace and science. World-changing infrastructure and awards that celebrate human achievement both came from an accidental spill. 27. LSD was accidentally discovered by Albert Hofmann, who synthesized the compound then absorbed it through his skin. The chemist was researching fungus compounds when he accidentally dosed himself. The bicycle ride home during the first acid trip became legendary in pharmacology. The accidental discovery revealed powerful psychedelic properties nobody expected. The compound influenced counterculture, music, art, and consciousness research. Modern understanding of neuroscience and psychiatric research was influenced by the accident. The accidental discovery became one of most culturally significant drugs in history. An entire cultural movement and scientific field came from accidental chemical absorption. 28. Matches were accidentally invented by John Walker, who was stirring chemicals with a stick that dried with compound on the end. Walker scraped the dried stick on the floor and it burst into flame. The accidental ignition revealed a way to create fire on demand. The invention made fire instantly available to everyone and changed daily life. Matches transformed cooking, heating, lighting, and industry before electricity. The fire-starting revolution came from scraping a dirty stick on the floor. Modern fire-starting technology and safety matches descend from the accident. The ability to create instant fire came from someone scraping dried chemicals off a stirring stick. 29. The pacemaker was accidentally invented by Wilson Greatbatch, who grabbed wrong resistor while building heart rhythm recorder. The electrical engineer installed wrong component, creating unexpected electrical pulse. The mistake produced regular electrical pulse that could regulate heartbeat. Greatbatch realized the error had created a device to control irregular heartbeats. Modern pacemakers keeping millions alive stem from grabbing wrong electronic component. Cardiac medicine was revolutionized by an accidental circuit design error. Lives are saved daily by technology that came from building something wrong. The life-saving medical device exists because an engineer made a simple component selection error. 30. Potato chips were accidentally invented by an angry chef who cut potatoes paper-thin despite a complaining customer. George Crumb was annoyed by customers sending back fried potatoes as too thick. The spiteful chef cut potatoes impossibly thin and fried them crispy to mock the customer. The customer loved them, and the accident became signature menu item. Potato chips became one of most popular snacks worldwide. The snack food industry worth billions came from a chef's angry revenge. Modern snack culture and chip varieties all stem from culinary spite. The spite-driven accident created a product more successful than any deliberate recipe. One of world's favorite snacks exists because a chef was trying to be passive-aggressive. 31. Insulin was accidentally discovered by researchers who removed dog pancreas to study digestion and noticed diabetes symptoms. The experimental dogs developed diabetes symptoms, giving clue to insulin's role. The accidental observation led to isolating insulin and treating diabetes. Millions of diabetics stay alive because of the observation from animal experiments. Modern diabetes treatment comes from noticing unexpected effects of removing organs. The medical breakthrough came from noticing what they weren't trying to study. Lives are saved daily from disease that was death sentence before the accidental discovery. Type 1 diabetics survive because researchers paid attention to unexpected experimental results. 32. The color mauve was accidentally discovered by teenage chemist William Perkin, trying to synthesize malaria treatment. Perkin was attempting to create quinine when he produced purple sludge instead. The failed malaria treatment became first synthetic dye, revolutionizing textile industry. The accident launched synthetic chemistry and the entire chemical dye industry. Before synthetic dyes, colors came from expensive natural sources. The fashion industry was transformed by accident of failed malaria research. Modern clothing and fabric colors stem from teenagers' failed experiment. The chemical industry worth trillions began because 18-year-old made the wrong compound. Colorful modern fabrics exist because a teenager failed at making malaria medicine. 33. Brandy was accidentally discovered by Dutch merchants who concentrated wine to save shipping space, intending to add water back. The burnt wine shipped more efficiently and tasted better after aging in barrels. The water was never added back because concentrated aged version was superior. The shipping efficiency mistake created entire brandy and cognac industry. Premium spirits worth enormous amounts came from trying to save cargo space. The aging process improvement was completely unintended accident. Distilled spirits culture worldwide evolved from shipping logistics mistake. One of the world's most prestigious alcohol categories exists because merchants tried to save space and forgot to reverse the process. 34. Velcro was accidentally invented by George de Mestral after hunting trip when he examined burrs stuck to his dog. The Swiss engineer wondered how burrs attached so effectively to fabric and fur. Microscope examination revealed hooks that grabbed loops in fabric and hair. The natural attachment mechanism was reproduced mechanically, creating Velcro. Modern fasteners in shoes, clothing, and spacesuits use the technology. The multi-million-dollar fastener industry came from removing burrs from a dog. Space programs and children's shoes worldwide use technology inspired by annoying plant seeds. The common fastener exists because someone got curious about plant burrs instead of just pulling them off. 35. Stainless steel was accidentally discovered by Harry Brearley, who was trying to prevent gun barrel erosion. The metallurgist created steel alloy that didn't corrode but didn't help with gun barrels. The failed military application became basis for modern cutlery and countless applications. Stainless steel revolutionized surgery, food preparation, and manufacturing. Modern kitchens and medical equipment depend on material that failed its original purpose. The weapons research failure became more valuable for peaceful applications. Countless daily items from sinks to surgical tools use the accidental discovery. The corrosion-resistant material that defines modern life came from failed gun barrel research. 36. Scotchgard was accidentally discovered by 3M chemist Patsy Sherman when fluorochemical compounds splashed on her shoe. The chemical spill created permanent stain-resistant area on her canvas shoe. Attempts to clean the spot revealed nothing could remove or stain the protected area. The accident launched multi-million-dollar fabric protection industry. Stain-resistant carpets, upholstery, and fabrics stem from the spill. Modern fabric treatments keeping furniture and carpets clean came from laboratory accident. The 3M product line worth enormous amounts began with splash on a shoe. Stain protection used in millions of homes exists because someone had a laboratory spill accident. 37. The Dead Sea Scrolls were accidentally discovered by Bedouin shepherd who threw rock into cave and heard pottery break. The shepherd investigated the sound and found ancient jars containing scrolls. The idol rock throw revealed oldest biblical manuscripts ever found. Understanding of ancient Judaism and early Christianity was revolutionized by the discovery. The archaeological find came from random action of bored shepherd. Modern biblical scholarship and religious understanding changed because of thrown rock. The most significant archaeological discovery of 20th century happened because someone threw a rock. Ancient texts that changed religious scholarship existed hidden until accidental discovery by shepherd. 38. Chocolate chip cookies were accidentally invented by Ruth Wakefield, who ran out of baker's chocolate and substituted broken chocolate bar pieces. The chocolate was supposed to melt and disperse, but instead held its shape. The mistake became Toll House cookies and most popular cookie variety. The accidental recipe was sold to Nestlé for a lifetime supply of chocolate. Chocolate chip cookies are now ubiquitous American dessert eaten worldwide. The beloved cookie came from cooking substitution that didn't work as intended. Modern cookie culture stems from someone running out of proper ingredient. One of America's most iconic foods exists because someone improvised with wrong chocolate. 39. Radioactivity was accidentally discovered by Henri Becquerel, who left uranium salts on wrapped photographic plates in drawer. The plates were exposed despite being wrapped, revealing invisible radiation. The accidental observation opened entirely new field of physics. Modern nuclear power in medicine stem from leaving materials in wrong drawer. Marie Curie's research building on the discovery led to understanding atomic structure. The nuclear age began because someone was disorganized with their materials. Radiation therapy treating cancer came from an accidental discovery. Nuclear physics revolutionizing energy and medicine began because of careless material storage. 40. Post-it notes' repositionable adhesive was accidentally discovered when Spencer Silver at 3M created adhesive that was too weak. The failed super strong adhesive was considered useless for any application. Art Fry realized weak adhesive was perfect for temporary bookmarks years later. The accident became one of most successful office products. The adhesive that didn't work became valuable precisely because it was weak. Modern office organization depends on glue that wasn't strong enough. The failure sat around for years before someone realized its value. One of most ubiquitous office supplies exists because someone made glue that didn't work. 41. The planet Neptune was accidentally discovered by astronomers looking for errors in Uranus's orbit calculations. Mathematicians predicted a planet must exist based on orbital irregularities. The search for calculation errors led to discovering eighth planet. The accidental method of discovering planets through mathematics revolutionized astronomy. Modern understanding of solar system came from following mathematical predictions. The planet found through math became template for finding other celestial objects. Astronomical methods for finding unseen objects came from investigating orbit errors. An entire planet was found because someone thought the math was wrong. 42. Vulcanization of rubber was accidentally discovered when Charles Goodyear dropped rubber-sulfur mixture on hot stove. The heating transformed rubber from temperature-sensitive material to stable substance. Goodyear had experimented for years before the accidental discovery. The mistake made rubber useful for vastly more applications. Modern tires and rubber products depend on the accidental discovery. Transportation revolution required rubber that came from dropped mixture. Goodyear died in poverty despite the discovery's enormous value. The automotive age required material discovered by kitchen accident. 43. Ether as anesthetic was accidentally discovered at ether frolics, where people inhaled it for entertainment. The recreational drug use revealed pain elimination properties. Medical professionals realized ether's potential for surgery from party observations. Surgery was revolutionized by drug used for fun at parties. Modern anesthesia allowing complex surgery came from party drug. The suffering eliminated by surgical anesthesia came from recreational observation. Medical breakthrough came from noticing effects of getting high. Countless surgical procedures became possible because doctors went to the right parties. 44. The New World was accidentally settled by humans who crossed land bridge during Ice Age following game animals. The migration wasn't planned exploration, but following food sources during climate change. The accidental migration populated 2 entire continents. Human civilization in the Americas came from following animals, not deliberate exploration. Indigenous American cultures developed from unplanned migration. The settlement of half the planet came from climate change and hunger, not exploration. The Americas were populated because people were hunting, not exploring. Human civilization in Western Hemisphere exists because of accidental migration following food. 45. And finally, the moon landing was only possible because of mistakes in earlier rocket programs that taught NASA what not to do. The Apollo program succeeded because previous failures revealed problems. Explosions, crashes, and deaths from mistakes enabled safe moon landing. The Challenger and Columbia disasters came from ignoring lessons from earlier mistakes. Space exploration advanced through catastrophic accidents, teaching crucial lessons. Every successful mission built on foundation of previous errors and disasters. The moonwalk happened because earlier mistakes taught engineers what killed astronauts. Human space achievement came from learning through tragedy. The greatest achievement in human exploration succeeded because people died teaching us what not to do, proving that human progress is built not on genius alone, but on the accumulated lessons from countless mistakes, accidents, and failures that taught us what works through painful examples of what doesn't, demonstrating that sometimes the biggest moments in history happen not through careful planning, but through spectacular screw-ups that accidentally changed everything forever. These historical accidents prove that progress comes from unexpected places and paying attention when things go wrong. What makes these discoveries particularly fascinating is that rigid adherence to plans would have missed most of them completely. The lesson is that mistakes, accidents, and failures drive human progress as much as deliberate innovation. And the ability to recognize opportunity and disaster shapes history more than perfect execution ever could. Subscribe if you found these accidental world-changing moments as amazing as we did. And remember that the next time something goes catastrophically wrong, you might be accidentally changing history forever.